What up? Well, Wednesday crew, it's your boy Dr. David Anderson, aka Mr. Black Economics. You know the flavor, you know the routine, you know how it goes down. Sorry about the delay. We got Mr. Roberts in town. And you know, quite frankly, man, when Mr. Roberts is speaking, we gotta give him his time. So we've sourced a new location, actually, a final location just for Wealth Wednesday. So we'll be able to have lights set up and all equipment ready to go so we can hammer out a show at the appropriate time. But Mr. Roberts is in town. So for those of you that don't know who Michael V. Roberts is, he's a billionaire extraordinaire. And so for tonight, we're gonna do, Ask Dr. Roberts session. You know what I'm saying? So for those of you that hung around, that waited, it's gonna be an interesting night. It's gonna be dope. Who is Michael V. Roberts? Google him. All right. Just to give you a backstory on who Mr. Roberts is, who His Excellency Dr. Michael V. Roberts is. There's a company called Sprint, and the infrastructure that Sprint communicates on is the Qualcomm network. All right. So the Qualcomm network was built by Michael V. Roberts and his brother Stephen Roberts, and they bought radio stations all throughout the country. And that whole story is very interesting on how they did that. And so in him buying these radio stations and these television stations, he was able to really just build the infrastructure that Sprint communicates on. And so probably like in the 1990 or in 2000s, he was able to do a deal and sell this infrastructure to Sprint. And this is current day, in my opinion, what Sprint operates on. So tonight, we're gonna listen to what he has to say. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, in my opinion, he's the elder. Not only is he the elder, but he's also a real serious entrepreneur. He's a real giant in this space of entrepreneurship. So I think tonight, Ask Dr. Roberts. Everybody's trying to figure out, how does this work? Y'all been listening to Wealth Wednesday for almost a year, and this is the opportunity for us to all learn. It's just one thing for y'all to, pull on me and get some information and knowledge from me, but then the question becomes, well, where am I getting my information from? Like, who am I pulling on? Who am I leaning on? And I have a select group of people that I deal with. Mr. Roberts is one, George Fraser is another, Robert F. Smith is another, Byron Allen is another. There's a few people that have come on the Wealth Wednesday platform that you guys have heard us talk about, or maybe heard us take calls from, or had interviews with. But tonight we're going to hear from Dr. Roberts. True story. I'll tell you this. A number of years ago, I helped finance this movie. I executive produced this movie and put up some bread for this movie called Black Friday. And it came out, it hit the independent circuit. We screened like 250 different screens for over a 24-month period. We had a lot of talks. I sold a lot of books, did a lot of training. And Mr. Roberts was one of the features in this movie called Black Friday. And so one of the places that we screened Black Friday was here in Atlanta at the Riverside Epicenter, which was affiliated with the Bronner's Church. And I'll never forget this. It was like either 2015 or 16, if I remember correctly. We were just talking about this at dinner. And Mr. Roberts was like, David, what you doing with your money? And I was like, I got some bread, but I'm gonna invest. He's like, what are you investing in? And I was like, real estate, tax lien certificates. And I'm all sold out for tax lien certificates, of course. And he's like, man, you really need to take your money and put it in crypto. And at the time, Bitcoin was like $4,300. And I was like, I had $100,000 cash. I had it in the bank. It was my own bread. And I'm like, man, if I would have put this $100,000, if I would have listened to Mr. Roberts, right, I would have put this $100,000 on the Bitcoin in 2015, 2016 at $4,300. It would have been like 23 Bitcoins now. It's like $60,000 right now to get a Bitcoin. It would have been like 23 Bitcoins. It would have been like 1.3 million. So I say this to say, not to cry over a lost deal, because there's always deals. There's deals happening right now. His approach, his entree into the marketplace, all comes from his philosophy. And when we talk about philosophies, which we were talking about last week, we gotta acknowledge that the foundation or the fundamental principles of our philosophies dictate our entry points into whatever market space that we're going into. So in this instance, Mr. Roberts is a futurist. So for some of y'all that don't understand futurism or don't know about what a futurist is or haven't read, Age of the Machines or haven't read Futurism or really are not on, what we call long form or big picture thinking. For those of you that are not aware of that, this is a philosophy. Big picture thinking is a way of life. And a lot of us don't get the big picture. A lot of us are just living check to check. And so that mentality of living check to check is affecting our ability to invest. It's affecting our ability to kind of go long. And the fundamentalists who practice going long have a philosophy of what we call futurism or futuristic thinking. And so futuristic thinking is not just an imperative part to investment, because like when you're investing, right, you're either shorting it, you're going long, or you're straddling the fence, what we call trading sideways. All right. But all of these different spaces have fundamental principles that they're rooted in. And it's very important that we understand these different principles, because it's not all about just one. Somebody said, oh, I went in the market, I found the arbitrage and I sold it. Okay, that's nice. But you're not always going to be able to do that. You can't always just go in the market, find the arbitrage, and think you're going to come out and win every time. It doesn't happen like that. Real wealth is built in the initiation of all three strategies at the same time. You got to go short because we got to be in transaction, but you got to go long too. And so tonight, I want y'all to kind of just listen and inquire about the idea of going long. I want us to practice the fundamental principles of what futurism is about. What Dr. Roberts is about to share with us tonight, and I apologize for being late, but like all of the information that you're gonna hear tonight, I got a chance to absorb just one-on-one, and it's kind of selfish, right? But I want y'all to really like dial into what he's getting ready to hit you with, because us going long and us applying futuristic principles into our investment schedules directly, listen to me class, it directly affects our bottom line. It directly affects the type of wealth that we're able to accumulate. If we're short-sighted and we don't really respect what's coming down the pipe with AI, artificial intelligence, if we don't respect what's getting ready to come down the pipe with electric cars, if we don't respect what's getting ready to come down the pipe with just how our technology is going to affect us in our daily lives in the next 5 years, if we're not investing in those things, then we're totally out of the loop. And quite frankly, as Africans, right, it's in our genome, it's in our DNA to be able to go long. We built pyramids in Egypt. I had the opportunity to go to Egypt and shoot a film with Dr. Roberts, and we actually looked at these pyramids together, and we were able to discuss these things, to discuss the technology from 3,000 years ago. How were these things built? So I say all this to say, you guys are in for an incredible treat tonight. To have somebody of this stature on this platform is amazing, and hopefully, we can all learn together. So I present to you tonight on the Wealth Wednesday platform with great anticipation, Dr. Michael V. Roberts, billionaire extraordinaire. Yo, give him the Wealth Wednesday round of applause. Hey.
Thank you. Boom. Brother, how are you?
Dr.
Good to see you, my man.
Good to see you too.
Good to see you.
Good to see you here, man.
Well, I am delighted to be here.
I'm ecstatic that you decided to stop by.
I think that the whole concept of wealth is extremely important in the minds of people. I frequently say to folks, hey, listen, you may not have heard about us in the past. My brother and I have developed quite a bit, but that's usually because rich people scream, but wealthy people whisper.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I am saying to your class today, I want you all to become whisperers. I want you to become more futuristic. I want you to become what I defined in my book, Action Has No Season, as an actionaire. And what is an actionaire? An actionaire is one who takes their ideas, their dreams, their vision, their passion, and they pursue them with courage and confidence and bravado. The actionaire is a critical thinker. The actionaire is one who recognizes that the present, as important as it is critical for you to fulfill, because every day when you wake up, you're given only 86,400 seconds.
Seconds, right.
So that's 24 hours, and the moment you think of the moment, it's already gone. You either use it or you lose it. And so too frequently, as I coach students, I find that people spend far too much time thinking about what they did in the past, a mistake that they've done. They lament on that. They take time away from the present to think of the past. And I always say to them, well, would you drive your car by looking in a rearview mirror? No, of course not. You drive your car by looking straight ahead. The same thing is true in life and in business. We have to be in a position to achieve on a regular basis. Now, how do you achieve? Well, one of the ways to achieve is for you to, and this is an important point, it's for you to not have a fear of failure. Too frequently, people are so concerned with the concept of fear, which is the first word I'll describe. Fear is just a mental construct. It's not of nature. It's not the wind blowing. It's not snow. It's not grass. Fear is a mental construct. When you were born perfect. You did not have fear. Fear was developed in your psyche. So for whatever reason, we need to make sure that you can find yourself eliminating fear by just saying, you know what? Why am I being fearful? There's nothing here causing it other than my own mental state.
You know, to that point, just to jump in right quick, I remember talking about this concept of fear with you, and I think we were in Egypt, we were on a bus or something like that, and we were saying like, yo, what promotes the fear, right? And one of the things that came up was the negative information campaign, and then I think right behind that you recommended that I read Tom Burrell's book, Brainwashed, because he talked about it in the book. But do you think that the negative information that's being propagated amongst Black people, Africans across the diaspora, is having an effect on our ability to believe that we can actually pull these opportunities off? You know, when these business ideas, maybe we say, oh man, you can't do that. You can't own a hotel, brother. You know, do you think that disinformation or misinformation campaign, negative information campaign against Blacks is affecting our ability to believe?
I think what affects us the most is our failure to have and promote our success stories. Now, I've owned 12 hotels. I've owned 11 full-power TV stations. I built a wireless phone company and sold it for $300 million to Sprint. Now, I'm just a brother who came up out of public schools in the hood in St. Louis, Missouri. Nothing special. Daddy worked at the post office.
Right.
Mama was a part-time teacher and was there to raise us. 4 kids. But I decided that I was going to allow myself to not fall in the traps that are set. And many of those traps that are set is recognizing that I didn't have a lot of images to follow, but I had a good family base.
Yeah, definitely.
And as a result of that, I was of the impression coming up that anything's possible. And so therefore I made almost everything possible. That second word, failure, falls into this discussion because I don't believe that there's such thing as failure.
Got it. It doesn't exist.
And why do I say that? Okay, well, maybe your business didn't quite hit the points you wanted to hit. Maybe your marriage didn't hit the points you wanted to hit. Right. Maybe your relationships with others did not hit. The question becomes, did you learn anything from it?
Wow.
And if you learn something from it, it's not a failure, it's just an experience where the outcome wasn't as you would have liked.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, we can proceed on by driving that car, by looking straight ahead and not in the rearview mirror.
Mm-hmm.
We allow ourselves to be comfortable with those types of challenges. Of course, I've had several businesses, where the outcome wasn't as I would have liked.
But you always figured out a way to come up, even when it's looking like it was going in the opposite
But
direction.
you're right, you're absolutely right. We call it pivoting.
Pivoting.
Because, for example, I have a hotel in Detroit, the Roberts River Walk Hotel, beautiful hotel.
On the market currently, for 26 million, right?
Yeah.
Call us, we can help you buy this hotel.
Look. Well, that's okay. I don't mind the commercial. You know, it's fine. But this is on international waters. It's across the water from Canada.
Canada.
Yes, sir.
It is the finest holdings probably in Detroit right now.
Wow.
And I've had it for 10 years.
Right.
Of course, we had the situation with COVID-19. A lot of things are shutting down.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you pivot in a hotel space? Well, one of the things I did was I created an opportunity for homeless people to come who were coming out of hospitals through a contract that was awarded to a firm from the United Way. So I was able to take a whole wing of a hotel for 3 months in the summer when there was no hotel business per se, and create business by allowing folks, and these are non-COVID patients, these are just people who had an operation or something, but they didn't have a home. So the entity that I was working with, of course, will go find them a permanent residence, but this is that interim. So I pivoted to bring revenue in. I also pivoted to the government when they brought up the PPP program. So that allowed me to employ people. That allowed me to take care of my utility bills.
Yeah, the basics.
So,
Assessments.
that's right, but that's those were grants, or forgivable loans, if you will. So when you were looking at how do you survive in a pandemic, you have to be ready to pivot and not just throw your hands up like some people. Oh, I quit. Yeah. No, there's ways to make yourself whole. Even if you have to cut back, even if you have to prepare yourselves for a downside, recognize it. In 2008, for example, I had to sell several of my hotels because the
remember that.
market was in bad shape.
But you made enough money to buy the freaking hotel in Detroit.
I was able to reserve that because at the same time that I was dropping those, I was building a wireless phone company, which I then took public. So it's diversity is very important. And I think that we have to recognize that, because through diversity, you can pivot when you're in a financial strain. And I think that if we could get our perspective straight and not understand that there are certain characteristics in a downturn that's set up for you. One is filing bankruptcy. Black folks say, oh my God, somebody filed bankruptcy. No, you have to understand, what I learned in law school was that bankruptcy was established for poor people to get a fresh start.
Wow.
But who uses bankruptcy?
Trump.
Well, he
Not
used
black
it
17 times.
well, so did General Motors.
So did you.
You know, so did several of our larger companies. Nobody said, oh, poor General Motors, you know, poor Trump, you know. No, they said, brilliant idea. So I'm telling our business people today that when going through a pandemic, if you have to use strategic ways to protect your back end, don't be afraid or ashamed to use those types of resources that are available to you. Don't let other people put you in a mindset that there's a stigma to bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is just a legal tool to protect your life and your business. It's a legal tool, and it's one that you should use.
We'll have to talk more about that. Because I don't know, I just have a feeling about bankruptcy. It's like, I don't know, well, there's different points in which I think a BK would need to be filed. Like, because some
It's
people,
different.
some people
There's
are
different
being
types of bankruptcies.
7, 11, 13.
Right. But I'm talking about where you just have a chance to knock off all of your creditors or reduce them for you to be able to reorganize. And if you're a business and you have some revenue, then what will happen is the judge will take, a debtor, a rather creditor, and bring down maybe, if it's $100,000,
Bring it down to 60 or 40
or 25,
or 20.
whatever the court decides. But then that gives you that fresh start to kick off again. Now, you then have to wait 7 years before you can file bankruptcy again.
Don't get any financing.
Well, actually not true, because what will happen is when banks have understand your reputation and who you are, and that you did that, they know that you can't file bankruptcy again for 7 years, so they in fact will loan you the money. And that's why the big corporations are so successful, because they still go out and they get their company. Any Fortune 5 company that doesn't have a substantial amount of debt, where they're heavily leveraged, the chairman of the board and the president of that company will be out of a job. They use leverage. They use money that way, and they know how to use it. We have to learn how to use it for us to be able to create and increase our bottom line.
At dinner tonight, we had a really incredible conversation about how you perceive the next 5 to 10 years to the outlook. And I had a conversation with Mr. Smith about 3 months ago. Right at the top of the year, I gave him a call or whatever, and he was impressing upon me the importance of the residency time of an investment. In his world, he places funds for 10 years, and that's, in his world, the residency time for him to turn a profit. And so your ideas of futurism going long are real important in spaces like that, when we're talking about dumping $10 million or $5 million for 10 years into an opportunity zone. So with that being the case, what are some of the things you see right now that are real important opportunities? And this is on the heels of me not listening, not being obedient to your advice in 2015 or 16, when you were like, yo, that Bitcoin was $4,300. And you did a whole presentation on it. It's on the internet. I'm sure we can pull it down and go right to it on Dr. Bronner or whatever. But just what are you seeing right now in terms of technology and things that we as Black people need to get in front of?
Well, let's consider that by 2035, over 50% of jobs as we know them will be gone. And probably 70 or 80% of those jobs are currently with African Americans.
Wow.
What's going to cause that?
Automation.
Automation, robotics, artificial intelligence,
AI.
augmented reality.
What's augmented reality? Is that
It's
virtual reality thing?
Yeah, well, let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay.
Scientists right now are creating microchips that can go into your body and can evaluate your health. They are nanochips, and a nanochip is so tiny that it's hard to perceive it. Have you seen the DNA ladder looking thing? Well, imagine a nanochip being half the size of that and being able to get injected into your body. And one day, for pennies, you'll be able to buy other nanochips that'll go on a wall around your mirror. And those nanochips will be able to look at you, and you'll stand in front of that mirror and you'll say, mirror, mirror on the wall, what's wrong with me? The mirror will then evaluate you, send that evaluation to RoboDoc. RoboDoc will then take that data, process it, determine the type of medication you need. RoboDoc will then send the message to RoboPharmacy. RoboPharmacy will then pull the drugs that's necessary for you.
Is this real, or is he?
This is where I'm telling you. This is where it's going.
That's where it's going.
Then RoboPharmacy will call the Robo Drone Company, who will deliver that medication to you at your home. Your robot will eventually be able to take that medicine, come to you with water and the medicine, and as you sit in the comfort of your bedroom, you'll be able to receive your medicine. Now, what have I just talked about? I've just eliminated doctors. I've eliminated pharmacists. I've eliminated transportation okay? Now that's just the beginning. So if you look at how these chips are gonna work, if you take for example, our cell phones, right? Okay,
Cobalt,
Now-
gold, silver.
no, hold on, no, you're going a different direction.
Hmm.
Your phone carries pretty much all the data that the world offers. I mean, if you want to read the Bible,
You can read the Bible.
if you want to look at the stock
You
market,
can watch it right now.
if you need to call a friend who you haven't talked to in a long time, but you know their phone number is in your phone, is it in your brain?
Yeah.
No, it's
No.
in
No,
your
it's on the
phone.
phone, yeah.
Okay.
Don't
Now
go to jail.
imagine that 20 or 30 years ago, nothing like this really existed. It wasn't that long ago. So imagine this being able to shrink down to a chip, and that chip can be implanted into your brain. Now, the augmented reality is, for example, if you could see the image of Frederick Douglass come up in front of you, and you can be able to ask Frederick Douglass questions. And historically, it'll be processed into that algorithm that will be able to create answers for Frederick Douglass or Martin Luther King. You with me so far?
I'm right there. with
Okay, so we're looking at, in the future, these holograms that'll be this augmented reality. Now, we have those glasses that you're talking about, that when you look in them, these so-called augmented reality type glasses, and you think you're skiing, you think you're climbing a mountain, whatever it is. Now imagine being able to, in the future, have a chip that'll go into your brain, and you can just close your eyes and do the same thing.
That's
Imagine the capability that you will be able to keep your frontal lobe of which is the creative side, and be able to do creative things. A robot will not be able to do creative things. They can do things they're trained to do. It'll look like it, but it won't be the same as being able to feel it and sense it. A robot will never be able to feel love or hate or anything like that. It'll only be able to operate based on how it's programmed. So, in the future, the possibility will be this. And here's an example of what happened just 4 years ago. They took one of these chips, a memory chip, planted it in a rat's head, brain, and sent the rat through a maze. And it took him a few times to figure out how to get to his reward. That rat then, once it was learned and it was memorized, it then went there straight. They took that chip and sent it across the country to another laboratory, put that same chip in a rat, put it in front of the same maze, and guess what?
The rat went straight to the
Straight through it. So that meant that data
Is
and
learning.
that chip was able to go from brain to brain. Now imagine in the future that your brain will be able to receive a similar type of data chip that your phone has. And that you will be able to have this instant data capability inside of your brain, and you'll have infinite knowledge.
Without having to read it.
And
Or
therefore,
memorize it, or
it's sort of like a cyborg. Exactly. So what's going to happen in universities and colleges and schools as we know them?
They'll disappear.
They'll have to form and morph into a different image, you see? And same thing with businesses and jobs. When people were picking cotton at one point in time, that was the industry. Then a black man created the cotton gin. And then what happened?
It changed.
Technology started to change it. So what did? They came north where Henry Ford was creating an assembly line to make this thing called the automobile. Now the automobile was not invented in the United States, it was invented in Europe. But the assembly line for mass production came as a result of what Ford did, along with Ethel and some of the other, Etzel and some of the others that
George
were involved with
Washington
that. So now, as we begin to see the technology shift, everyone has seen what it takes to make a car. In the old days, it was basically you put it together manually. Now we see these robotic arms assembling it, don't we?
Right.
Okay, you see where we're going? We have this progression of technology that's continuing to move on. And that's why the jobs that I talked about over time will be lost. Now, And here you are in the future, and you're like a cyborg. You're half human and half robot. Now the question becomes, and here's the dark side, and
Right.
the scary side.
The scariest part. Sounds like a movie.
The scary side is when you have people who become brain hackers.
Wow.
And
Wow.
suddenly you are doing things you have no idea why you're doing it.
Some Manchurian Candidate type stuff?
Whether you're robbing somebody or what.
Why would
But-
somebody want to hack the brain? To control.
I'm a bad guy,
Okay.
and I want to send you out to do bad things for me. Okay? Why do people hack banks and computers and for money, right? Well, that's the dark side of it.
I got
But what I'm saying is we got to protect ourselves in the future. Now, all of these types of things
That's crazy.
and jobs that are going to be created as a result of these industries, and public companies are going to be created as a result of these new technologies. So what we have to do is be on top of the technologies that are coming. Earlier, we talked about augmented reality.
Mhm.
Well, that's one thing, but then there's the question of electric cars,
Oh,
for
yeah.
example.
I want to talk to you about that. So at dinner tonight, this is the second question I had for you. The so of course the Tesla stock is really high. The Chinese are totally accepting the whole going electric thing. You mentioned tonight that Ford and all the other American car companies, GM, are all coming with an electric car. Even Range Rover now is talking about the new autobiography is going to have a freaking, electric component to it, so it'll be a kind of a hybrid. That's available now. So all these different car companies are getting into the electric car game. Even in the lawn care business, there's a new company called Ego. They came out with a electric ride-along and electric, mowers and stuff. And now all these other companies, Husqvarna and Ryobi, and all these other people have now electric lawn gear. So what do you see in that space, more specifically with the electric cars? What do you see that impacting our Department of Transportation in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, there's electric cars, and then there are cars that are going to run without a human being.
Autonomous cars.
Okay? There's going to be autonomous helicopters that'll take you instead of taxis from one location to the next within your own city. In the future, the electric cars are just a step toward the autonomous cars. The electric car is going to be required at some point because the planet is going green, and in order for that emission from the gas engine type cars to stop, it's going to take electric cars. So at one point in the future, you'll only be able to buy an electric car. That'll be it. Okay, you won't be able to buy a gas engine car.
So the
at some point.
Tesla stock isn't it?
Tesla stock is okay, but I will tell you, believe it or not, Ford and probably GM are doing more. Tesla's getting a reputation, but those other big companies are quietly doing more, and they're going to be able to produce more of the electric cars faster because they are equipped to do that. So electric vehicles and anything that takes us into more of a green environment are good investment ideas. But more importantly, I like to talk to people as entrepreneurs and not just investors in stock. But I want folks to look at who's going to make the next proper battery. A lithium-ion battery, for example, if it's hit incorrectly, explodes.
Oh, definitely.
So
They got
there's
saltwater technology,
Yeah.
that does just as well.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
much cheaper.
So if you look at, certain carbon-based batteries, who's gonna invent the next,
Hemp battery.
I'm working with it, with some guys out of Canada now. But we're looking at how do we create a safer, longer life battery? And that's gonna be applicable for everything, different sizes. So there are those who may be watching that are inventors. Get busy building your inventions. They should come to you to help them finance their ideas and their inventions because it's going to take resources to do it. But more importantly, it's the future.
Real quick, this is interactive tonight, people. So instead of you asking me questions, we want to ask Dr. Roberts. So ask the billionaire. So if you have any questions, fine. If you see anybody that have questions that come up, just don't hesitate to let us know. So you think this electric car thing is going to be serious business?
Well, I think electric car and autonomous cars are also.
Autonomous cars.
Because the autonomous car is the driverless car, right? And as I told you over dinner, if anyone has a 2-year-old today, by the time they're 16, they will not drive a car. They will command a car. They will direct the car to take them to certain places.
How the machine usually we press the button. It's a bomb.
Yeah. Okay, but I mean, that's my point. You will, planes fly every day. Once the pilot takes off,
It's autopilot.
it's autopilot, right? I mean,
So he lands.
So right.
Hopefully he doesn't have a bird strike.
And well, at some point, at some point, probably all of it, we'll get on a plane and we won't even see pilots. We'll get on buses, we won't see a driver. We'll see large tandem trucks moving commerce up and down the highways with no driver. That exists today,
That's scary, man.
but it is actually safer than the human driving it because it has all the design concepts to protect against any kind of accident and prevent accidents. Whether it's the reduction of speed or being able to predict, anticipate someone who may be about to run a red light, they've moved through a little bit too far, you stop. You've seen these cars already advertised on how people were backing out their driveway and their car suddenly stops because a sensor tells them there's a kid, a wagon, a dog, a human behind it, and it stops it right away. Humans doesn't do that, the sensor did that. So just imagine that we are in such a
technology-driven society.
and we're really, I mean, our phones and things like that. I built a wireless phone company. I jumped into building, a PCS digital company when everybody was still on the analog phones. You remember when the coolest guy in the theater had a
big old brick
had
phone.
a big phone, had a briefcase and all that.
Briefcase connected to it.
Yeah, and snap, crackle, drop.
Right. It
But
got
I
real
saw-
hot too.
Yeah.
It got super hot.
Yeah, the battery life was short too, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it's like 15 minutes.
Yeah, right. But knowing that we were moving into the digital age, my brother and I jumped into that business. And, now everybody has one, right? So the question that I put to our class tonight is really stop and think and spend some time anticipating where the future might go. Where do you go look for things like that? Go to TED Talks on YouTube and look up and listen to futurists as they're talking to you. Listen to them as they describe business opportunities and or the changes that are taking place, and then you figure out what the future is going to do or bring. You see, it's important for us to continue to educate it and to lift our own thinking and listen to folks who are successful. That's important. That's why they listen to you, because you're in a position to. No, but
I'm only been listening to you for 10 years.
Well, that's right.
Hey Dave,
We got some questions?
Hemp Daddy number 7 over here on the.
Oh man, Malcolm
team.
Anderson. What's up, Malcolm? What's going
He
on?
said, Mr. Roberts,
What's my partner in the hemp field?
thoughts on hemp and cannabis green rush?
I think that there is a huge opportunity for hemp, especially. Why hemp? Too often people think of even cannabis as for medical purposes or just getting high. The reality is their bark, their stalks, and the byproducts of the leaf, on both of those products, will be used similar to what bamboo is using today. You will be, in fact, for years, hemp was used and is still used in automobiles. And, you know, the dashboards are actually made of hemp.
Yeah.
So growing hemp and being a part of that business and you know, using it for recreation, not hemp, but, you know, marijuana for recreation, that, you know, that may be and it may be a passing, you know, fancy. I mean, you know, people smoke in their cars, they get out their cars, and everybody smells it, it's horrible, nobody likes it. You know, because
Ain't nobody
it's
doing
intrusive.
business with you.
It's just intrusive.
It's intrusive.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
frankly, so is cigarette smoke, but
Yeah.
it's a little intrusive and almost rude to.
Yes.
You can do it at home, you can stay, but that is irrelevant because it's either legal or it's not legal, and if it's legal, fine, that's your business. People drink, sometimes they overindulge, but I look at it from
A business.
business perspective. So if I'm farming those products, I have to look at what are the byproduct capabilities of that product. And so, you know, you look at all this that's thrown off, the stem, the bark around the stem, all of that can become paper.
Building material.
It is building, they're building
Hempcrete.
materials, but it's literally paper. You know, paper is made out of what?
Out of wood.
Bark,
You
right?
gotta take down a tree.
Yeah,
Or you can
So-
just grow hemp.
precisely.
And it takes 90 days or 120 days to
You can
grow.
grow it in the right,
Rather than waiting 5 or 6 years for
you
a tree.
can, you're right. You
My
can
cousin
have,
growing quicker than that, Dave. Oh, my bad.
Well, the hemp, that dude Malcolm ain't no
Yeah,
joke.
yeah.
yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Well, but you're right, you can harvest 2, 3, 4 times a year, you know? So,
But you also said bamboo too. What is your take on bamboo?
oh, well, bamboo is really one of the most green, successful products. I built 5 houses using bamboo for all my kitchen cabinets, my floor.
What?
Yeah, bamboo is a very green, very solid a product to use. People need to look at it because it grows well as quickly as
Yeah, it
well.
goes just as quick.
Yeah.
Dr. Roberts, bamboo for the counters and I know the floors. I've seen bamboo floors and wood
Floors,
floors, but for the
yeah.
countertops and the cabinets.
Well, you can take recycled plastics and other chips to make your countertops.
Okay, I got that part. But I'm saying when you said
The cabinets, that which looks like wood mostly.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, and the floors.
We had a question, Fonz, on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That just threw me on my bad.
Yeah, this is mind blowing.
He's getting in.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's food, man. No, Sandra Teffer was just saying.
Sandra Teffer?
Yeah, thank you. And she was just saying that bankruptcy is an effective tool for people to preserve wealth. Then she went down and she said control is the goal of hacking the brain.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Sanj called me this morning. Just side note.
Hi, Sandra.
Someone called the office in Chicago. I guess they wanted to send condolences to your family
Yeah.
because of your mom or
Yeah,
whatever.
I lost my mom.
And so she said she was a family member.
Okay.
So
Well, that's fine. She is. She's adopted. That's fine.
so Sandra asked us some questions, some probing questions, and she didn't kind of pass the litmus test. So she's just relating the message that somebody called.
That's nice.
She wanted your number, and I don't know if she gave her your personal number. She gave him the number to the office or whatever. But she told me about it. She wanted me to remind me to tell you that somebody was calling. But anyway,
He says, does Dr. Roberts believe there will be a place for nuclear power, example, salt water reactors?
Yes.
who asked that question?
I'm sorry. Hold on, let me go back. Hold on, wait. I'm sorry. It's just right there. I'm sorry. That was Brian Jefferson.
Okay.
Okay. Brian, let me tell you my thoughts on water. Okay.
Say it like that, right?
There is, we have to be able to, if you're going to have a rechargeable electric car, you have to also be able to charge that car. So in order to charge the car, not just with the plug, you have to be able to create a system by which you have a mechanism within the car that will charge it, okay? And the way in which you do that is you take hydrogen, and hydrogen will be used to power up the, let's call it generator, to power up the system. It'll be a small one in order to recharge the vehicle. Okay? Now, I have my scientists down in Huntsville working on this for me. Catch this. When you were in grade school, tell me, what are the parts for water?
Hydrogen, oxygen.
H2O.
Right. One part.
H2O. And what does the H stand for?
Hydrogen.
And what does the O stand for?
Oxygen.
So what if we can bust hydrogen out of water, create oxygen, and at the same time create hydrogen, which could be used to power up the fuel cell, which is needed to charge the battery to allow for the electric car to go. More importantly, let me take you deeper. What if I could take that same process, put it on a battleship, send the battleship out into the ocean for 6 months?
Now you don't need.
And now I'm not talking about a nuclear run battleship, but one that could take water out of the ocean, bust the hydrogen out, power the fuel cell, allow that fuel cell to then power the engines to run the ship, or a car,
Hydrogen.
or a truck. Hydrogen is what's used to do that.
But didn't someone create a hydrogen car and then it didn't come out?
No, you gotta get to the hydrogen. All I'm talking about is the hydrogen is the power source. See, the hydrogen powers the fuel cell. You gotta note that term, the fuel cell. The fuel cell is like the entity that charges the battery. And the battery in turn runs the car.
That's deep.
Make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. So I just need some inventors to go out and bust hydrogen out of water and then send pure oxygen into the air as opposed to
I got it.
carbon.
Oh, wow.
That's deep, right?
That's deep, man.
Isn't that what Dr. Emmett did on Back to the Future? When he came
Marty,
back, he was like,
Marty,
Marty,
give me a
yeah,
banana."
Yeah. We gotta use it. He's
gotta
like,
be
nah, in the
banana.
future we're using hydrogen
Like,
to
oh,
power the car, the DeLorean.
Wow. And Brian also has a question. Says Brian Jefferson says seeing a lot of billionaires buy serious amount of farmland. Where are the different approaches for farming for small business people?
Yo, Brian Jefferson's on point because Gates just bought he's buying millions of acres of him and another I think it's not Elon Musk, but it's another billionaire dude. I forget his name. They're buying farmland out the wazoo right now. What's the play on that?
Well, for starters, it goes back to where are you going to grow your hemp? And then how is the hemp going to be used?
But I think they're doing this because they're going to automate the farm, or
It'll be automated. I was working with some guys out of India that have drones that can actually read the land that it flies over. It sends a signal to a data computer that says this area needs water, this area doesn't. This area is infected. Send a disinfectant type or something out to take care of this part. And they are looking for funding. It's a very interesting concept because instead of people running around saying, okay, this dirt is dusty, it needs some water, you actually have this capability to actually read and measure the saturation levels of Earth and be able to bring that back to your data point and then send water to those locations or whatever it may need. And that is a whole future of farming. And so, yes, the technology is going to be there. I also had a very interesting conversation with a lady who was just hired at McDonald's to diversify their food products, right? And one of the things I said to her is, you really have to take a deep dive into looking at what black farmers are producing that could connect to McDonald's worldwide. And she is in charge of diversity and so on and so forth. And so I kind of planted that seed so that she could really jump into looking into those possibilities for black farmers. And yes, so farming isn't going any place. Of course, neither is residential housing.
Hey!
Boom, boom.
Hey! Speaking of residential housing, Dr. Roberts. So, and then you were at the table tonight. You were
Just happened to come up.
Literally, he was asking, "Hey, Dave, what's going on? What's new? Blah blah
Right.
blah." And I'm like, "Man, this Wealth Wednesday platform is growing." And so we just located a studio specific for Wealth Wednesday Studio. so that we can, have all the lights, cameras, everything set up, blah, blah, blah. And you were actually like right there as the deal is being negotiated, and you're letting us know how we should structure it. So I say all this to say, residential, commercial, the real estate space, especially in Atlanta right now with everything going on, you're in town, we're hopefully gonna be able to show you some things on the opportunity bus, some major opportunities. And from the last time when you were here looking at hotels and Ozzy Studio, and the market being like the way that it is right now is limited inventory, what do you see on the real estate space, especially in this market and across the country? Where's real estate going? And
Well,
is it a good investment? What are your thoughts on that?
It's probably one of the safest, most reliable and sustainable investments that you can make. We're going to experience over the next 12 to 18 months a number of foreclosures.
Hey,
We're going to see people who lost their jobs during the pandemic, who weren't able to sustain themselves. We're going to see people who are going to lose their rental positions and look for a new rental position because the landlord is going to be fed up and not recognize that, hey, let them stay and come back. Rather, they'll look for somebody new. So therefore, being able to provide housing will be, the population is still growing, and so, there's always a need for housing. So notwithstanding farming and food, which is important, or transportation, notwithstanding any of that, we have to recognize that, people have to have a place to live. So residential development is something that I think is extremely important, and is a standard for anybody who's in business to be able to have that in their portfolio.
A couple of weeks ago, we actually, the office, experienced this whole craziness with what I was explaining to you with the new owners and the brothers fighting and all this type of stuff. So we actually went out and we bought a block of land across the street from the Beltline, which happens to be in the same area that Microsoft's headquarters is moved into, as well as Airbnb. So hopefully tomorrow we can get on the opportunity bus, show you what's going on. But I really would like to get your take on how would a company as big as Microsoft, a company as big as Airbnb, these guys are coming in 150-acre campus already done.
Right.
How's that going to impact that specific area, 30318, 30314, Martin Luther King, AUC area? What do you?
Well,
And I know you can't comment all the way on it because it's a real specific question, but just what do you think?
Well, if they follow an example that's taking place in Detroit with Quicken Loans,
Dan
Gilbert,
right.
in fact, they took it public with a company called Rocket,
Mortgage.
and I bought right away in that. They are providing like $10,000 and up grants as part of their down payment for people to move into the city close to their facility, to buy the facility. They're encouraging their employees to live close, and they're doing that by creating this financial incentive to purchase an apartment, a condo, or a home. So
And this is the hood though. This is like similar to Detroit, right? This is like,
it's a hood all over the place.
but this right here, this is like Bankhead and Chappelle, the equivalent to like 8 miles,
Okay.
9 miles.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the
you-
Detroit hood for real.
Have you been to DC? I
Yeah.
could take you to the hood in DC that used to be the hood 10 or
8th
15
and H
years
is no
ago.
longer the hood. 8th and H and Heckler
Yeah,
Mall
none
is
of
no longer the
DC.
hood.
You know,
That's me and all the problems, man.
Yeah,
Wait
all
a
the
minute.
Northeast is
we
like
don't have to go
nothing.
that far. You're from New York. What about Harlem?
Same thing.
Okay, so when do we get involved in the ownership? At what stage do we get involved in the ownership? You know, what I always used to say was, there's gold in them, there's streets. And it's really sad when your grandparents worked
Their whole
their
life.
entire life to leave you a home, or your parents. And then all you did is try to move to the suburbs. And you leave that property And suddenly, all these other folks, white folks mostly, are coming right back into the same house that your mom and daddy worked so hard to give you and leave you, and you walk away for back taxes. Shame on you.
Ding dong! Made a business out of it.
He was so wrong.
I'm sorry, I
Give him the knock. Give him the knock.
I couldn't
Give him the
resist
knock.
on that one.
So wrong.
Yeah, that is messed up, man. I mean, like, no, serious. I think about it, right? Because, it baffles me every time. Like, we have a situation right now, literally right now, going on. The grandma died, left the house free and clear.
Sure.
The kids refinance the house, take a small mortgage out. They're paying the mortgage, but they didn't pay the HOA. I mean, they paid the mortgage on time. The balance is probably like 30, 40 G's. House is worth 250,000. But they didn't pay the mortgage or the taxes. So now, chicken come home to roost. They got to get out tomorrow, high noon. And, people from the family are calling the office like, what can get worked out? We want to buy it back or whatever, It's on the market right now. But it's like, you could have stopped all this from happening.
Right. But they don't know any better. I
But
mean,
that's what I'm saying,
the
but
thing is,
why?
we have to educate our folks. In other words, there's more of us, like in what you're doing now. Hopefully there's somebody watching
There's a lot of people.
who's actually thinking through what may have happened with their family home or what may be happening with their family home so that they can protect it and save it. We have to do that through education. We have to write more articles. We have to speak out more. We have to have our clergy speak out more. We have to have our clergy better educate from an entrepreneurial perspective, what life should be like to be, a true Christian, Muslim, or Jew. Because every leader of each of those religious groups have always taken the position that you have to be able to create some level of wealth for your family to exist.
Right.
So, maybe better educating some of our folks through that method. But that's just one of many. I mean, what you're doing even tonight, what we're doing is trying to give some people some food for thought. We don't have a do-it-yourself kit. We can't just say, do 1, 2, 3 and go. I can say go read my books that I've written.
Definitely.
Action Has No Season and Action Has No Season
2.0. Get those on Amazon right now. Check it out.
Yeah. But first, go to a black bookstore.
Ah.
Try to buy it there. Tell them to order it. And if they don't do it, then go to Amazon after that.
Good information. Yeah, George actually said this at I think we were at a Power Networking, the year that we both got sold. Remember that? And he was like, we need more training. Black folks need more training, which is why he obviously created the Power Networking seminar series. All right, so this is major, man. I'm excited about this program tonight because there's a lot that we're dealing with. So obviously you see real estate as always being a safe play.
Yeah.
And I will go on the record. I didn't buy the Bitcoins, but we definitely kept going with the real estate.
Cryptocurrency is one that you can have people look into, which you don't have up there.
Let's put it on the board. Let's talk cryptos. So I wanted to ask this question. We'll start with the Bitcoin. We'll say crypto because Bitcoin is too high to get into.
In on that, that's okay. And then,
And crypto.
yeah.
Crypt. Is that CY?
Yeah.
R?
TRO.
CYTR?
TRO. Crypto.
Crypt.
Crypto. Yeah. Cryptocurrency, right.
All right. I don't know, that doesn't look right, but all right, crypto.
That's what.
All right, so the Bitcoin is 60 grand right now, on or about.
50, 60, yeah.
It's a little high to get in my opinion. But these alternate coins, the Litecoins, the Ethereums, the Ripples, maybe the Dogecoin, all these other coins, there's like the top 30 coins in cryptocurrencies. What's your opinion on these
Okay, well, let's
altcoins?
first make sure people understand what that is.
Okay.
And let's understand how cryptocurrencies actually work. Cryptocurrencies work off of something called the blockchain. And the blockchain is basically a method by which the transactions take place. Think of it like a ledger book, and it holds data on everything. It'll hold data on your house and the history of it. They'll hold data on your holdings of money, Bitcoin. And it's impervious such that nobody can take it out of that data on
blockchain.
you. It can't take it out because of the blockchain. So therefore, whatever the transactions are, if they're done inside of the blockchain, they're there permanently. And thousands of computers are holding the same data. So if somebody tried to snatch it out or cause you to encrypt, to take it, you know, in one way or the other ones would immediately fill the data right back again. So it's supposed to be in a position that you can't lose it. But you can only lose it if you forget your numbers and your data, that you own it and it's in your phone, which is your wallet. So I look at cryptocurrency almost the same way I look at a stock market.
Okay.
If I buy a share of General Motors, what do I have to show for it? It's a number, a data number that my broker holds. And when I want to sell it, if it goes up or goes down, that data number is sold to you or to whomever buys it for whatever price they choose to buy it. And I either make money, lose money, or stay. That's the stock market. With the Bitcoin, it's very similar, or any cryptocurrency. It is set at it goes at prices based on scarcity and who's interested. If people are buying your stock a lot, your stock rises. If people are buying and getting in the Bitcoins, it rises. However, the difference is cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin is the first one, that's where people talk about it. And it's the largest one. And it's kind of the standard, really. If now I can buy items on Amazon or someday a car or anything else using Bitcoin, then I have what's defined as a trusted transaction. So if I wanted to buy property in Singapore and your property is in the blockchain and you want cryptocurrency and I want to buy it with cryptocurrency, then as I exchange my cryptocurrency and you exchange your title, it goes into a database that is protected for both of us. And what have I just did? I eliminated real estate brokers,
The attorney,
the attorney,
the appraiser,
yes,
the what else? The bank,
the bank,
the everybody is done.
because
The whole real estate industry is just
it's peer to peer,
Yeah.
person to
It's
person.
direct.
You see, P to P, person to person, peer to peer, and that's why the future becomes so interesting.
Only thing you would need in that deal is a title abstractor to make sure there's no clouds on title.
That's already in the blockchain. That's in your database.
But what if there's errors? What if it's like the deed
Everything
is
that's in
off?
the blockchain, everything. If there's a filing for anything that you just described, it has to be seen someplace, right? In a public record. That public record then goes in the blockchain. This is the future now.
Okay.
And so I mean, what's going to happen is if I put if I have something, put a cloud on your title, then it's going to be seen in the blockchain. It's going to be seen because it's going to go
So
in.
we'd have to correct that.
Yeah,
So
it's like any other
A
transaction.
scrivener's affidavit or a
Well,
corrective deed on the blockchain?
Whatever. You got to come up with that plan,
Hmm.
and then you got to sell it globally. You see? See, this is a transaction. This coin has the same value anywhere in the world, unlike the U.S. dollar, or the franc, or the pound in England, or the CD in Ghana. You know, this is universal. The same value is the same every place.
So it's 60 G's
If 60 G's here,
in Egypt,
it's the equivalent of
60
60 G's in Egypt,
Mm.
whatever their
money is.
Yeah, whatever their currency is.
Oh,
Correct.
wow. The Egyptian pound. That's a lot of Egyptian pounds. That's cold-blooded. So with the altcoins, what's your take on the alternative coins? Like for people who don't
Well,
have
there's
60
there's
G's to
two.
throw at their Bitcoin.
There's probably 3,000 of these cryptocurrencies out here.
Mhm.
You just have to inform yourself. I suggest you join Coinbase or Voyager preferably, And
Voyager.
that's the name of how you would create a wallet. And that's, you would download that, and it'll kind of keep you abreast of what's in. Both of those were just examples that would.
These are wallets, digital wallets.
You can create digital wallet, yes. Mhm.
What's your take on that Nas transaction? You know, he just did the Coinbase deal. He made like $50 million on an investment, $100,000 investment from 2013.
I don't know much about that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he did a show and took some show money and invested in Coinbase early on, per MC Hammer's advice, so I'm told. And then the IPO went public and he's up 50 million.
Well,
On Coinbase.
you and I could create an ICO and create our own coin. I've looked into doing that several times.
Yeah, I remember you did
years
Action
ago.
Air coin.
Yeah, an action coin.
Now, why would people buy an Action coin? What would it do?
Well, what we would do is we would have, first of all, it would be the black coin. We would have interaction. And then eventually we would get stores to accept our coin the way Bitcoin's trying to get them to. But more people would try to buy it and the price continues to go up. And it's like a commodity, it's a market, you know.
So we can
An
buy
initial
black.
coin offering can, back in when they were first doing them, was generating $125 million in like 2 weeks. Because everybody was so hot. Of course, in our community, we slept it. You know,
Yeah,
we
but you
slept
know,
it.
they might catch it in 10 years.
Well,
we got all the
that's
buy
just
black
it.
coins.
Well,
We got the Hotep coin.
Yeah, right.
We get the Hotep coin.
Right, yeah, exactly.
My
Yeah.
brother.
My brother. Yeah, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
We should do that. Just get a whole bunch of black
Well, we'll
coins.
talk about that.
Yeah, offline.
Listen, thank you for having me tonight.
No, Mr. Roberts, you know, I could have you all night. I appreciate you, you
Yeah.
coming through. This right here, these 10 points,
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
this is gold right here, man. This is so necessary because everybody's always, you know, calling, trying to figure out what's the move, what's the play,
Right.
which way do we go,
Mhm.
and we've just been given, 10 points on the direction or the trajectory of where things are going. I mean, we talked about failure, you know, and how failure is not real, and why diversity is very important. And then you're hitting us with, you know, statistics in 2035 that 50% of jobs that we know right now is going to be out of here. So what do? Investments in electric cars, Tesla, Ford, GM. You don't understand futurism, like go to TED Talk and type in futurist and all of the futurist TED Talks will come up. I mean, that's crazy. Hydrogen, power and fuel cells, the future of farming. We can see what Gates and them are doing. Real estate investing. I mean, the Real Estate Group Partners is a testament to that. And then the Bitcoins, cryptocurrency, blockchains, and now the digital wallet teaches us that we can go through Voyager and Coinbase to even get into this market.
That's right.
This information right here is just viable, man. This is what I think, in my opinion, this is what we need to be doing. So I say all this to say tonight, this is a blessing for someone of this stature to come on the platform and just share this kind of time with us uninterrupted, and then drop these jewels. So honestly, people, it's really on y'all at this point. You know what I mean? I mean, the information is here, the accessibility is here, the experience is here. You know, and I say this all the time. I think my dad might even be watching this, but I had this unique experience. You know, Robert Kiyosaki talks about it in his Rich Dad Poor Dad series. You know what I mean? And I joke all the time. My biological father, who I love very much, and I'm sure is watching right now. Dad didn't have the financial resources of a Michael V. Roberts. You know what I'm saying? He's got the intellect. You know, my pop is probably the smartest person that I know, but he didn't have the financial resources. But I've been blessed to have these relationships with you and George and Mr. Smith and all these, and so it's almost like the gaps get filled. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I always want to just thank you for that. You know what I mean?
Well,
You don't never had, you know, you didn't have to take my calls and bring me on these trips and give me these opportunities that you continue to give me. And I just want to tell you, I appreciate it. I'm thankful.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We don't take it for granted. And hopefully hopefully, every time you come to Atlanta, you see our growth and stuff like that. So, we thank you for coming by.
You are.
Any last questions before Mr. Roberts jets out of here? People, any questions for Mr. Roberts?
Grateful for Mr. Roberts' insight. He just making comments. That was Brian Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a great idea. Charles Brown said, I want in. William Walls is watching.
What's up, Walls?
No, I think it's just eating
All right,
it
we
up,
good?
man.
Yeah, everybody's
Eating it up.
watching. All right. All right.
Well-
Well, you gonna shuttle him back right quick,
Yeah, just stay just in case.
please? Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And,
All right, thank you, everyone. Take
I
care.
have,
We'll,
I could take this with me, but.
No, please don't. I'd like that back. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Sure, I got it.
Taking my black card.
Oh, you too, bro.
Unbelievable, right? It's crazy.
We can get up.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Roberts. We'll see you in the morning. I appreciate it.
Too bad.
All right. So listen, man. Wealth Wednesday. This is cold blooded right here. You know what I'm saying? To be able to just hop on the set and have a billionaire just come through. Like this dude is legit billionaire. It's crazy. What's up, Fonz?
Wow!
That's cold blooded. Look at Fonzie.
Wow!
Did that just happen?
We was late, but it was worth it.
Yeah, we was late.
I was up in there tripping like, yo, man, where you at dinner? Come on.
I didn't
yo,
wanna
you
rush
at
dinner, man. I
He
didn't
was
wanna
like,
rush
yo,
dinner.
I'm in Mr. Roberts. You gonna have to wait.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
like,
sorry.
"Ah, yo.
Sorry.
Light skin gang down.
Hey man, come on now. You tripping.
Yo.
That was crazy.
Yo.
Yo, he came through and dropped bombs. Yo, that's bombs. That's like super bombs. That's a whole class right there. And you know what's crazy? And I know Sandra, if you can find the talk that Mr. Roberts did, I know you know what I'm talking about. Because I think it's on the internet. If you can get the full Epi talk, I think that's what it was. It was a 2019 Epi
At the
talk
epicenter?
at the Epicenter with Mr. Roberts. It's either that one or it's the talk that we did at Black Friday screenings. But we gotta find this talk because at the talk, the dude said the Bitcoin was $4,300, and I was like, yo, I got the bread, but it wasn't a safe place. So I was like, I'll just do the real estate thing.
Fear.
Yeah, fear.
Fear.
I even succumbed to it. But I told y'all last week why. I at least know why. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but I have these amazing relationships with these unbelievable people. Like I can't even explain it. It's just crazy. It's like I'll be chilling and then the phone rings and it's Byron Allen. He's talking about whatever he's talking about. And I'm like, oh wow, this is crazy. So, everybody's like, oh, you need to monetize that. Robert F. Smith calls you. You need to flip that. But actually, I don't think so. I think I just need to continue to nurture that because these relationships allow for us to do some amazing things. Like I got a call today from the United States Virgin Islands and some guys, they got a factory that they're putting together, some kind of cement factory. And so the dude called, they got a USDA loan, the ticket is 6.5 million, they got 85%, they need another 1.5 to close. My name comes up and I get referred to these guys by way of somebody else, whatever. I'm on the phone and I'm like, yo, what do y'all need? And they're like, yeah, we need 1.5 million. I was like, all right, I'm gonna come down there and check out the project. They like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna come down there and check out the project. He's like, oh, okay. So just in me responding like that, it took these dudes to a whole nother space. They was like, oh, this dude is for real. And so then we get into the culturism, the classism. Like, well, what do you know about the Virgin Islands? And I'm like, well, okay, that street that your plant is on in St. Croix is called Melvin Evans Freeway. That Melvin Evans is my uncle, you know what I'm saying? He's the first black governor of the United States Virgin Islands. And so now we get to talking. Now we get to talking about all these other deals that they got going on. And I'm like, yo, why y'all can't put these deals together? And they can't put the deals together because it's super hard for them to come up with this 20%. And so I'm at dinner talking to Mr. Roberts about this call and all these opportunities in the hotel game and in the concrete plant and in the manufacturing and all this stuff going on in the VI, Dr. Robertson's like, yo, I want to go. I want to check it out. So now a phone call, right, turns into a trip, that's sponsored by the government quasi, with some heavyweight entrepreneurs that's coming not to just invest, but to help put these deals together, because these are Virgin Islanders, right, who are, for whatever reason, can't put 1 + 1 together because of interference. Like, this is a simple phone call. This is a call to the EDA, like, yo, y'all got Virgin Islanders on site with manufacturing opportunities, and y'all already got money earmarked through HUD and all these other tags and all this other stuff. And it just requires a sit-down meeting with a really creative deal structure and somebody with the weight and pull of a Mr. Robertson. The deal's done. You're talking about crazy deals getting done. So I say all this to say, I'm at a space in my entrepreneurial career where I don't think we should be holding those kinds of relationships hostage. A lot of people be like, oh, that's my contact. I'm going to hold that.
And my plug, y'all.
I'm putting that in the back pocket. And I'm like, listen, there's other cats out here that need access to, somebody like him, not to try to extrapolate some resources, but just to have conversations about, yo, how do I move in this space? You know what I'm saying? Like how I responded to them today, I said 2 things on the phone. I was like, all right, well, I'm interested and I'm going to ship my vehicle down there. They was like, what? I was like, yeah, I can have the vehicle driven to Miami and we'll put it on a boat and then I'll call the EDA, we'll set up a meeting and I'm going to fly down there. They was like, oh, this dude is for real. Serious business. So how I responded, let them know, okay, well, wait a minute. If this dude is moving like that and he knows people in the VI and he's got contacts with the governor, he's got contacts with, the congresswoman and all this other type of stuff and the Economic Development Association, maybe we need to bring these projects to the table. And because they brought these projects to the table that are real serious, I bring them to Mr. Roberts, I bring them to Mr. Smith. Now we got momentum going. Now we got a mission trip going. All right. So I say this to say we gotta keep people in our network that can help us and assist us on getting bigger experiences, bigger deals done. It's the what we do. I'm real good in the space of what we're doing with this real estate thing, but at the end of the day, it's really about growing and scaling Black businesses. That's what this is about. You know what I'm saying? So that's number one. Also, I gotta give a big shout out to Boyce Watkins. I don't know, a lot of times some people be like, yo, you taking shots at Boyce? I'm not taking shots at Boyce. Boyce is the man. In fact, the first movie that I ever financed, that I was ever an executive producer of, was called Generation One, The Search for Black Wealth. And it was the first financial film documentary that I appeared in. And I actually cast Boyce Watkins in this film. So contrary to belief, Boyce and I are extremely tight. He's a good dude, and I appreciate him. I guess there was a question that came up on his platform the other day about somebody in Cleveland, Ohio, inquiring about tax liens and who's the person that I can go to in the community to ask about tax liens. And Boyce recommended me. And so I was like, wow, that's big. Dude called, he paid my fee. My fee is $15,500. I got my check and it cleared. So I got to send you some money, Boyce. And I'll be training. I kind of took a hiatus for training, but $15,500 makes you get real down to the curriculum real quick, real fast. So on May 1st and 2nd in True Tax Lien Certificate Training Forum, if there's anyone else that wants to really know the game and really dig deep into how the mechanics of investments in tax lien certificates goes down, you want to be a part of this class. Also, in this class, as a bonus, I am teaching how to raise money. And this is not just regular money that we're talking about. I'm talking about how to raise 10 million, 5 million, $20 million specifically for real estate investment. And this is not me talking crazy on the set. This is like, I don't talk about stuff that I haven't done, right? So you hear me on the Wealth Wednesday talking about, yeah, Mr. Roberts called, blah, 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 the dude just left, all right? And then maybe next week we're gonna have Robert F. Smith in here, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, I never know how it goes down, but we are buying a place just to do the Wealth Wednesday, okay? So this thing is like crazy. We need to give it its own space. We need to respect the time. The Wealth Wednesday is out of here. So Wealth Wednesday will have its own little Wealth Wednesday studio downtown Atlanta. I'm super excited about that. And I'm just really excited about how this platform is growing. You know, we did this as an extension or as outreach for the real estate group partners to just teach people about the strategies that we use. We use very non-conforming, non-traditional strategies as our approach to investing. And this whole relationship, this whole give and take, this whole back and forth has grown into, you know, this Wealth Wednesday platform. And so I'm excited about it. We intend to bring on more experts on the platform, more juggernaut entrepreneurs. You know, we plan on just setting it up. Sandra, you know, I'm gonna start texting you some cell phone numbers tonight on who to call and line them up. But this is what's needed, man. This is what's necessary, you know, for such a time as this. I can't be the only entrepreneur out here cutting heads off and leaving. I can't be the only one. You know what I'm saying? I can't be the only black one. I have to replicate myself. And if that means that I gotta replicate myself by sharing every week until you decide to believe that it's real and do it yourself, then that's what I'm gonna do. Because I don't think that it's not fair to be the only one out here, man. It ain't fair to be the only one with a boat. You know what I'm saying? That I know of. So I know of a boat auction going down, and I'm getting all my black friends together that are interested in marine life, and we going up there to that, you know, spot where we go, and we all gonna roll on black, and we all gonna buy some boats. We're gonna be some black boat owners, right? So this is what needs to go on. You know, we need to do things differently. All this hanging out in the barbershop, watching the game, you know, eating Fruity Loops, all that stuff is played out, man. It's time for us to do what we supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? And that means getting on our game as it relates to wealth building. So I'm gonna make it interesting. I'm gonna keep it fun. I'm gonna keep it exciting. I'm gonna figure out new ways to explain the same thing. And we're gonna meet here, you know, every week at the same time as we, you know, work these kinks out and get all of the lighting and everything the way we need to get it. And more specifically, as we make the investment to give Wealth Wednesday its own platform. Like, I'm crazy excited about this, man. Like, super excited. Like, we'll have enough space for people to park. We'll have enough space for people to interact, you know, safely, social distancing. You'll be able to see us. You know, we can see you, we can wave, you know what I'm saying? We'll have a area where people can grill, barbecues, like right downtown Atlanta. Like, how does this happen? So Wealth Wednesdays is growing. We're excited. We'll have a little bookstore in a new spot. So people want to buy Wealth Wednesday t-shirts. They want to buy audio books, CDs, all that stuff. We got a little bookstore going. We have the Blackonomics Studios in the same spot. Training, conferencing, meetings, faxes, phones, all of that. Upstairs staff. It's crazy. So we're excited, man. We're excited about what's happening. We're excited about how God is moving. And we're excited to just, continue to get this information. So I say all this to say big shouts out to Boyce Watkins. Also, big shouts out to Jamal Bryant. See you tomorrow at the church because we got business to deal with on May 6th. As you know, May 6th, we will be presenting information at New Birth. And Mr. Roberts is an investor in New Birth, which is the biggest black church in the country, over 300 acres. So they're going to talk some big business tomorrow with that. Not to put the business in the street, but Mr. Roberts going to go check on the tithe, offering in gifts.
Oh.
But yeah, May 6th, we're going to be, May 1st and 2nd, is the tax lien certificate training class. So if you're interested in that, please call. Let me put this on the board for y'all because I know people are like, yo, docs teach tax liens. Ain't nobody say nothing about that. Well, it's understood, man. Everybody don't have that kind of a ticket, but it's cool. We got some events coming up. So May 1st and 2nd. tax lien certificate training. And then the second opportunity is May 6th. This is at New Birth. That's a free event. This is $15,500. And we taking cashier's checks. We're not doing no credit cards on that. All right, and then May 15th through the 16th, 2021, this is the live stream. Now, this is
Processor.
well, it's real estate management,
My bad.
which will include process serving.
Copy that.
101.com. Okay, now to this point, because this is growing, adding, changing like daily. So my family is very concerned about me speaking in front of live audiences. Obviously, they don't want me to get sick. I got a lot of things that I'm managing. I got a lot of responsibilities and all that type of stuff. So this event right here is definitely a live stream. This is a $4.99. Now, for those people who want to join, I'm getting a lot of flack for in person. So if you've paid, it'll be online, definitely. You've got to have a COVID test within 24 hours of coming. And so I don't see a lot of people doing that. I don't see a lot of people wearing double masks. I mean, it's just like my family is just, they on the COVID protocols like serious business. It ain't, it's like if you ain't got this, you ain't getting in. So I'm just letting you know it might be better for you to just pay online and do the online training. It'll be the same as just being there. I'm gonna go real deep, take my time. We got the technology specialists in the house, so all of the live streams will be in 4K, no problem. I think we'll have the switcher hooked up and we'll have all the technology going so that you can follow along at home. It's just so that everybody stays safe. We don't want nobody getting sick on our recognizance because we jumped the gun trying to network and train. We don't know who's had vaccines. We don't know if the vaccines work. We don't know who has underlying conditions. We don't even want to be responsible for, you know, somebody in the name of trying to learn, to grow, and get sick. That's not something that we want to do. So this event, we're having these events, but this is definitely an online event. I can't speak to what's going on at New Birth. Jamal Bryant is everywhere. So apparently Jamal's had a vaccine shot. So my people ain't trying to take that risk with me. So it's just that, it's like not happening. So I have to just be cognizant of my surroundings and make sure that, you know, everybody is good. So that's what's coming up. We want y'all to participate. Also, the next tax sale is May 4th. So there's a bunch of folks who we're pulling over now. Hopefully we can place everybody, you know, in May. If we don't, it'll be June or July. But, you know, if you want to get involved, just call the office. We got the number up here, 888, as you know, 755-5105. And, you know, you can set up a Zoom consultation and just, hey, I'm interested in the partner program. I'm interested in learning, you know, what's going on. And we can set up a time, we can meet, talk, figure it all out, and go from there. But I say all that to say, man, it's that time. We'll see y'all next week. Same black channel, same black station. Thank y'all for tuning in religiously every week. Sorry about the delay. We just had a really good meal and a really good conversation at dinner, man. I'm so sorry. But it's exciting times, really exciting summer. And, you know, let's start investing. Let's start investing in things that make sense. Please take this information down. Please do some more research on what this is about. Please understand that Doc Roberts told me to do something. I ain't do it. It cost me $1.5 million. You know, but at the same time, I can also say that I stayed focused on this right here, and you know, we built a machine. So, you know, maybe at the end of the summer, if we do real good, I can throw some money at the Bitcoin and see where it goes. Put in a Roth IRA. But I'm staying focused on my square. I'm not gonna get distracted and be everywhere. We're gonna stay on our square. So listen, man, enjoy your evening. It's a lot going on. If them young black boys is out tonight, make sure they got on body armor if they go into the store. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.